Hey everybody, welcome back. This is gonna be a weird video. I am back from the North American International Championships. In fact, I went to work today at a big long 10-hour shift. But that's not the topic of today's video. Today we're gonna talk about the North American International Championships. We'll talk about the team a little bit. We'll talk about my run. We'll talk about lots and lots of things. It's probably gonna get a little heavy. There's probably gonna be some funny moments. Maybe I'll even cry. Who knows? But let's jump right into it. So, talking about the North American International Championships, I kind of need to start like 8 months ago. A lot of you don't know this. Some of you do, but a lot of you aren't going to know this. I'm sure that most of you know that I've basically been married for my entire adult life. I have been living with my significant other for basically my entire adult life. Well, about like 5 months ago, I moved out on my own, and I've been living with myself since like the middle of January, and that's been hard. Obviously, all of the stuff surrounding that has been hard. I'm sure you can make your inferences. I really don't want to just come out and say it, but I've been living by myself for, about 6 months now. And that's been really difficult. I'd never lived by myself before. I'm still adjusting to coming home to, like an empty house every night. It's been really hard, I haven't gone into it because, you don't want that kind of heavy stuff. You're here for the fun content. I make the fun content. But there you go. That's what's been going on. If you've noticed differences in the uploading schedule or my demeanor sometimes, that's what's going on. So yeah, to start our journey for NAIC, we have to start there, because that kind of informs my situation, my headspace about everything else. I have been trying to make a team. So Atlanta comes and goes. I bring Poliwhirl. I decide I'm just going to bring Poliwhirl because I want to, not for any particular reason. It's pretty good. I go on that trip with my friends. That's a nice trip. Being with my friends who are from Orlando, and obviously one friend who's not from Orlando, but traveling with them, going with them, makes that trip really fun. It makes it like an easy trip, and yeah, it's not so bad. But it's felt more difficult, and this is like totally contrary to how I would have guessed, but it feels really difficult to make myself just like make a video for the sake of making a video when I live all by myself and I can choose to do anything. You know what I mean? So a lot of the times I don't. I'm not feeling that pressure to make a video just because, oh, I should really make a video. It's been a while. So if you notice, like a decrease in my uploading schedule, that's why. But kind of the flip side of that is that, like, I'm making a lot of teams still, but I'm maybe not making as many teams that are making it into videos because I don't feel the pressure to like play a team that should be really fun but is really bad. You know what I mean? So that's been happening a lot. Anyway, we get to Regulation I. I'm living by myself, going to work, coming home every day. I have Billy, obviously. Billy's great. I've got, the big man right here. But coming home to an empty house every day, it was really hard to get into Regulation I. I really still don't love the format. It's not fun. I feel like it's really hard to have sauce in the format. Maybe other people look at me and they go, man, that guy has all the sauce. What is he doing? I don't know. But for me, it feels like it's really hard to have sauce in this format. I still really don't like Regulation I. It pisses me off every time I load into ladder games. Even if I'm winning, it pisses me off. But I basically threw myself at the closed door that I'm calling Regulation I for months. I have been trying so hard to make a good team for Regulation I, and it just nothing has felt good. I've had things where I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good, and I play it for a couple of games, and then I find all the flaws, and I'm just like, well, I don't like this. I don't want to have to deal with these flaws because the format is a very difficult format. This is probably the most difficult format of all of Scarlet and Violet. And I got pretty close. I think I almost brought Alcremie with Calyrex. Very similar to that team that I did for the Grand Challenge that one time. I got a team going with that felt like pretty good, but it wasn't 100% of the way there. It's really hard to run a team where you need to get Trick Room off. Most teams kind of have a Trick Room option, and they can just bring in their Ursaluna and ruin your day anyway. You know what I mean? It makes playing a team like that very hard. I tried a lot of Scarf Kyogre teams. I tried running Terra Ghost Scarf Kyogre with Icy Wind. I even really thought about bringing Dugtrio to NAIC. I tested another Dugtrio Miraidon team, like a better one. I even really thought about that. I thought about bringing just Calyrex Zamazenta, like a version of the Explosion Regieleki team. And I tested that. I tested so many things, and nothing felt good. And I was at the end of my rope. As far as Regulation I goes, I wasn't, literally at the end of my rope. And I was sitting there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a Poliwhirl team because it will make me feel better to have a working Poliwhirl team, even if it's bad. And I made the team, and let me tell you, somehow it was the best thing that I had played in Regulation I up until that point. I was bullying people with Poliwhirl at 1700 on the best of one ladder, like a month ago, a couple weeks ago. So, the floor was a little bit lower probably. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of testing teams. This feels good. It's got Poliwhirl. Even if I do bad, I will be happy to bring this team because it is a team that I can love with my heart and soul. And I throw my eggs in that basket. I didn't expect myself to do amazing. I thought, 5-3 is my usual thing. If I go 5-3, I'll be fine. I really would like to make day 2. I'd like to make it on stream with Poliwhirl. Obviously, I wore the baby carrier, brought the big man himself. Yeah. And so now I guess we kind of just fast forward to the event, right? I've been feeling kind of weird, the last week or two leading up to NAIC. Just kind of in my head about a lot of things. For some reason, the song Space Oddity made me cry, a couple days before I had to leave for NAIC. I hit the line that was tell my wife I love her very much, and I started bawling, man. I don't know. That was a day. The rest of the day was fine. It was just that one moment. It really made me cry. I don't know. But fast forward to the trip. Okay, I've got the team ready. I've made the whole team. I'm leaving for my trip. I think everything's going to be hunky-dory. I get there. The first night is great. Hang out with my good pal Nishant. Gigawatts94 on YouTube if you're so inclined. They don't post very often, but they are a wonderful person, and I'm very glad to have them in my life. Yeah, it was a great night. And I show up for the tournament the next day, and I play round 1, and it's an absolute slugfest, and I bring Poliwhirl to one game, and I come to a terrible realization. I have not changed the ability on this Poliwhirl to Swift Swim. So I have a water-absorbed Poliwhirl on this team. Obviously, it doesn't matter in that match. The Poliwhirl doesn't really do much. I just noticed because it goes after their Calyrex. And I'm like, it should really be moving before their Calyrex. But I lose that game anyway. I don't bring Poliwhirl to game 3. And I'm like, okay, I got to go talk to a judge. I run into Andrew Krebs. Very nice guy. They got top 64, I think. Congratulations to them. And yeah, I'm just like, I need to go talk to a judge because I have an error on my team and I am a good noodle and I'm going to make sure that I fix it the correct way. So I go and I ask a judge and I tell the judge, hey, my Poliwhirl is supposed to be Swift Swim. The one I have on my team is Water Absorb. And they're like, okay, I don't really know what you're supposed to do. So they get the head judge, and the head judge comes, and the head judge asks, what about the rental that you submitted? And the rental that I submitted is exactly the same team, which means that rental also has Water Absorb. And the judge tells me that since my in-game team and my rental match, that's 2 out of the 3 criteria that they use to check teams, so I have to keep Water Absorb, and they have to print me a new team sheet. I am so flustered, I leave my backpack where I was talking to the head judge. I just walk away from it with my Switch 2, my iPad, everything in there, and I just walk away from it to the judge station. And I realize right after I'm talking to the judge at the judge station that I left my backpack. That was a really big blow for me. Basically, it means that I cannot bring Poliwhirl. My team is a 5 Pokemon team, and Poliwhirl's just kind of hanging out there. And obviously I was a good noodle, and I think, generally you should try to follow the rules and do your best to, do the right thing. But literally, if I'm not saying that I would have done this, I don't know. I'm not saying that you should do this, I don't know. But technically speaking, if I had changed the Poliwhirl's ability to Swift Swim, and then they found out later in the tournament that my rental that I submitted was Water Absorb, nothing bad would have happened to me. I would have gotten a warning, and I would have kept the Poliwhirl with Swift Swim, and I would have gotten to play the whole tournament with Swift Swim. And like I said, I'm not saying that you should do this dishonest thing, right? I would never tell you to lie at the official Pokemon tournament, but it really sucks that I was a good noodle and I told the truth, and I basically got punished for it. I think that's really stupid, and honestly, you should probably think that's stupid too. Everybody I talked to said, "Wow, that's really stupid." Yeah, it really sucked. So suddenly, I'm out of here in New Orleans. I'm feeling weird because I flew on the plane by myself. Yeah, that was a. Sorry. I'm feeling weird because I flew on the plane by myself. I don't know why. It made me feel weird. I got in my head again. Yeah. It was. I just want to take a minute to thank everybody who hung out with me this weekend. You probably all didn't know what was going on, and that's okay. But thanks for being good friends this weekend. Really, I don't know that I would have been okay hanging out by myself the whole time, like I usually end up doing at these things. So thanks a lot. Yeah. So now I flew out here all by myself. I'm feeling weird, right? It's hard for me to socialize with people sometimes. It's hard for me to really advocate for myself, if I'm being honest. But now I'm not even playing the team that I wanted to play. Yeah, 5 out of the 6 mons are still there. They're the same. They work. But when I tell you that while I was testing this team, I brought Poliwhirl to basically every game, I am not even exaggerating. It came to almost every single game that I played when I was testing this team. I had an Incineroar on this team. Thank God I had an Incineroar on this team. I almost changed it to other stuff because, I literally, in all of my testing, I did not bring the Incineroar not once. And suddenly, my team dynamic was such that I was bringing Incineroar to every single game, because literally I had to learn how to use my team all over again because of one little mistake, one little ability change. So I guess the moral of this story is make sure you have everything right, because this is 2 events this season where my record, my team got really messed up because I had a team sheet error. Same thing happened in Toronto, which was right after everything that went down. But it's okay. My friend flew out, so it ended up being okay. Toronto's probably the most fun I've had at an event, if I'm being honest, just because my my friend from Florida, he flew down to meet me on day one, and we really had a great time. I'm glad he did that. It's Colton. You guys know Colton. Thank God for Colton. Thank God for Nishant. Thank God for really everybody who stuck out for me at all of these events, because I really really don't know what I'd do without you guys. Um, yeah, I spent a lot of time hanging out at this event with John Luke. They have a channel, John Luke VGC. Storm. They also have a channel. I don't know what it's called. I'll look it up maybe, or maybe they'll comment about it. And Storm's girlfriend. I'm gonna say girlfriend. I don't know what their whole relationship is. And they were wonderful people. Like, honestly, I'm glad I was able to hang out with all of them. It's really nice. Here's what I'll say. It's really nice when after every round you have people that you can go talk to about how the matchup went, whether it went good, whether it went bad. And I really appreciate that. Sometimes there are people that like I'm familiar with that I go talk to like after matches, but you can kind of tell they're like, yeah, everybody's here talking about Pokemon. Do we have to talk about Pokemon? And I get it. I really get it. But also, we're at the Pokemon tournament. You know what I mean? But anyway, going back to my run, I'm now a 5-mon team, and my second round opponent is Kazuki Kobayashi, who got 4th place in this event, or 3rd place, depending on how they rank it. I don't know. I would have to look it up. They went undefeated all the way until like day 2, round like 11 of Swiss or something like that. And I played them to a very close best of 3 set with a 5-mon team without my Poliwhirl. And honestly, I feel like I put up a really good fight, and I couldn't get my mons where they needed to be in game 2 and game 3. And it really just happens that way. I wasn't too upset about it at the time, but thinking about it now, it just kind of sucks, because that was probably a matchup where I really would have enjoyed to bring Poliwhirl. Round 3's whatever. Round 4, I play against Paul Ruiz. Paul Ruiz is a very notable player. I'm sure you know who Paul Ruiz is. And again, I play them to a very close 3-game set. And I mean, really, it comes down to, I had a Play Rough miss and Origin Pulse miss in the same game. And if I had landed either of those attacks, I think the game would have come out a lot differently. And this is my least favorite thing to hear people say, but that is the game that we play. Sometimes you just have to lick your wounds and keep going. They in fact looked at my team and they were like, hey, like, you have a really cool team. I like your team a lot. And I was like, yeah, thanks. The Poliwhirl is supposed to be Swift Swim. And they looked at my team sheet and they went, yeah, I was staring at your team sheet trying to figure out why in the world you would run Water Absorb instead of Swift Swim. Well, there you go. They're doing like a campfire thing. I hope they say something nice about me. I don't know. I'm sure that they will probably just gloss over round 4, but I hope that they say something nice about me. That would make me feel a little bit better. So yeah, so now I'm X2. I lose round 5 and I lose round 6. They were both matchups that I had basically no hope of navigating without the Poliwhirl. Yeah, I just like screens Calyrex Ice Rider, Terra Water. I can't break that Ice Rider without being able to click Endeavor on the Poliwhirl. You'll see on the team in a second. We'll get into the team. I will post a rental of this team with Swift Swim, so that everybody can use it if they would like. It would absolutely mean the world to me if we all rally behind the little guy. I don't know, give him something to hope for. I brought him to the event, and he didn't even get to shine. He came to one entire game because his ability was wrong, and I feel like I let him down. I feel like I let everybody down, to be honest. I don't know. I guess I'd really convince myself that I could make day 2 with Poliwhirl, and maybe if things had gone differently, I could have. I don't know, but there's really no sense. I'm gonna keep thinking about it, but there's no sense in thinking about it. But yeah, I guess this isn't much of a crash out. It's more of a cry out. I really came close to balling on a camera there a second ago. So yeah, I drop, and basically everything, all of the feelings that I have been kind of overlooking, trying to be positive about, that kind of all hit me at once. I go and drop, and I'm people are trying to talk to me. I'm basically holding back tears at this point. Like I which is it feels kind of embarrassing to say. I cried at the Pokemon tournament, but I I didn't think I was going to do great at this tournament. My only expectation, maybe I'll go 5-3. I'd really like to make day 2. I would really like to make it on stream. But obviously none of that happened. I went 2-4 drop, which is terrible. That's an awful record. Yeah, just everything hit me all at once. I found Nishant. Nishant's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We go find somewhere to sit." Somebody came up to ask me to take a picture, and I'm like literally crying. And I'm sorry, man. You got your picture later. I'm glad that you were able to get a picture with me. Yeah, I was trying to put on a brave face for you, but I know there were tears in my eyes. I'm really sorry. I'm sure that was an awkward interaction for you. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like wandered around and was really sad for a little while till I got my act together. It was, like I said, it sounds almost embarrassing to say, right? It sounds like really stupid, but I don't know. I guess I just needed to cry, and that was the thing that was the straw that broke the camel's back. So there you go. I'm sorry if this video is kind of heavy for you. I'm sure it's not as heavy as it could be. I could, sit here and talk about all of the heavy things that have happened over the last 8 months in gruesome detail, and I'm not going to do that to you. You don't want to hear that. But yeah, it's been hard, and I thought I was going to do better, and I didn't. And it was because I made a really stupid mistake, and the rules were not on my side. So that really hurt too. I wasn't even at the point where I was like, okay, well, I can finish for fun. I can go 4-4. I was like, no, like I'm not even playing the team that I want to be playing anymore. I had to relearn my team in a best of 3 set against Kozuki Kobayashi, who was undefeated until like round 11. Like, that's stupid. Yeah. It just got me really feeling like I let people down, feeling like I'm a failure. I don't know. I'm sure none of you are disappointed in me. Maybe you are. Maybe my fans hate me. I don't know. But I'm sure none of you are actually disappointed in me. I was disappointed in me, and I guess that's kind of where we find ourselves here. Yeah. Sorry. But let's talk about the team a little bit. This team was a really cool team. Like, honestly, I think if I'd gotten to play it the way that I intended to play it, I probably would have done a lot better. I don't know. Maybe probably would have lost me games. But at that point, at least I'm losing on my own terms and not on the terms of the rules of the judges who decided that I couldn't have Poliwhirl. So the team, it's very simple. This is Swordfish with Poliwhirl. It's really cool. We're running Poliwhirl, Kyogre, Zacian, Farigiraf, Incineroar, and Tornadus. These are all like very similar to sets that I've used in the past. This is a Life Orb Kyogre set. It's almost the same set that I used on the Love Disc video, except this one is almost max speed. It's 1 speed from being max speed, and that's because I wanted it to be slower than Poliwhirl if I ever found myself in a situation where I was out of the rain, which happens from time to time. That way Poliwhirl would still be able to Endeavor or Icy Wind or whatever, and then Kyogre would move next. That's what I wanted. Um, yeah, the Life Orb might sound kind of weird when you're talking about Water Spout, but the basic idea here is that your first Water Spout is stronger than a Mystic Water Spout, and your second Water Spout, after just the Life Orb chip, is as strong as a Mystic Water Spout. That way you get two really good Water Spouts, and then your other moves like Ice Beam are still boosted all of the time, which is really nice. It really helps into those matchups against like Rillabooms, Terra Grass Pokemon, Amoonguses, stuff like that. We have Poliwhirl. This Poliwhirl honestly put in so much work. I went out of my way to like get one that was 0 HP. That's why the one I had wasn't already Swift Swim, because I used a different Poliwhirl than I used in Atlanta. This one has a 0 HP IV. It's Encore, Endeavor, Icy Wind, Protect. Honestly, you get knocked down a Sash. Like people will either ignore. They're either going to attack the Poliwhirl or they're going to ignore it. If they ignore it, they're going to have to deal with Encore. They're still going to have to deal with Endeavor. They're going to have to deal with the speed control from Icy Wind. If they attack it, you get knocked down the Sash, and now Endeavor is a move that does 99% HP. That does 99% to any Pokemon, which is absolutely amazing. It puts everything into range of Kyogre, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. I played a lot of games with this team where I was straight up bullying people with the Poliwhirl. I would get to Endeavor like 2 or 3 of their Mons down to 1 HP, and I was taking KOs with Icy Wind off of the Poliwhirl, which was absolutely amazing. People should not let me do that, but I am so familiar with this team concept that I was able to just game on people, and that was really fun. We have Zacian. This is a Zacian set that I've never actually used before, but it's not exactly an uncommon Zacian set. This is the Terra Ground Terra Blast Zacian. It really, really helps the Miraidon matchup. Kyogre's absolute worst matchup is Miraidon, followed by Koraidon, because they both shit on Kyogre. I almost made a whole Angry Rant video about how many times they nerfed Kyogre this generation, but basically every restricted Pokemon that they introduced this generation is good into Kyogre, and many non-restricted Pokemons they introduced this generation are good into Kyogre. So it's like, fuck Kyogre, I guess. But yeah, basically, those are your 3 main Mons. You're going to bring those Mons to almost every game. Sometimes you won't bring Poliwhirl. Sometimes you won't bring Zacian, but most of the time you're going to bring Zacian Kyogre, and a lot of the time you're going to bring Poliwhirl. The other 3 Mons fill in gaps. If I know my opponent's going to have Tailwind, then usually I want to have Tornadus. Sometimes Tornadus is just better into some things too, right? Like if my opponent's going to lead a Rillaboom, sometimes I'll lead Poliwhirl, because if they like Grassy Glide me, then they just get Endeavored and they die. But a lot of the times you're going to bring like Tornadus to help you deal with Ogerpons, help you deal with Rillabooms. This is the max special attack modest Sharp Beak set. I'm running just enough speed to hit 151 speed, which is speed creeping the speed creeping. 149 either at +1 speed or with a choice scarf, or they're at -1 speed with speed kind of like Shadow Rider. So I'm speed creeping that by 2 speed. Yeah, it was really useful. The Bleakwind Storms hit really hard. In fact, because I didn't have Poliwhirl, there were games where I played where like my opponent got up Tailwind, and I literally just set up Trick Room and started spamming Bleakwind Storm because that was all I could do, and it worked. So you know what? If it works, it works. The Furgraph is really nice. This one is Terra Fairy, though I think if I was going to fix the team, I would make it like Terra Electric. Terra Electric is a lot better into a lot of things that are good into Kyogre, like the Miraidon. A lot of the time, if you lead Farigiraf, they just like Electric Drift the Farigiraf slot. If you're Terra Electric, they can't really do that. Yeah, I like this Farigiraf set. I think I would probably run Psychic over Protect, because it seems like that's just a lot better. But this Farigiraf is very handy. A lot of things, you'll be able to just lead Farigiraf Zacian, and you can Terra Ground the Zacian and start clicking Terra Blast into Miraidons, into Iron Hands, into Raging Bolts. It helps you deal with all those Mons that are really good in the Kyogre. It also does work against Koraidon, because if you can get them to like waste their Terra, now they're in Terra Blast range. Or if you can get them to waste their Terra on something else, well then you just knock them out with Play Rough, and that's why the Terra Ground Zacian is really cool. If Zacian just got ground coverage, it'd probably be way better. But Zacian also got nerfed this generation, so there you go. And then that's all the ones. And the last is the Incineroar. This Incineroar, I'm running a lot of special defense. It's like almost max special defense, and then it's max HP, and then just a little bit of defense. It's a fake out, parting shot, taunt, and knock off. The taunt, I'm running mostly for like trick room stuff, but it also is pretty good into like Amoonguss or things that want to click follow me, etc. I ended up bringing it a lot more because I couldn't bring Poliwhirl, and I just needed something to like give me a little bit of buffer so I could start, clicking Water Spout. And like really, Incineroar was kind of the best that I had into a lot of teams, so I brought it a lot. And this Incineroar set actually eats Electro Drift. It eats a Specs Electro Drift if they do not Terra, which is very funny, but only with a little bit of HP. So do with that information what you will. But yeah, I feel like this is a good team, and I feel like it didn't get a fair shake. And obviously, that's really disappointing. That's not what you want to happen anytime you go to a tournament. You want to get the best shake that you can get. But it's a really fun team. I don't know. Maybe if you want, I'll do like a laddering video with it. But I think right now it would make me sad to do a laddering video with this team. So you can just have the rental. There you go. It's free for you. You just had to watch however long this video is to get here. The rest of my trip was okay, right? Like I hung out with people. That was nice. It was fun. But yeah, it was kind of hard to shake like the overwhelming feeling that I'd failed, I'd done something wrong. That when I went home, there wasn't even going to be anybody there to be like, you gave it your best shot, Yeah, it really sucks, but it is what it is. All I can do is do better next time. So that's what I'm going to try to do, Hopefully next season I'll qualify for Worlds. I'm going to set it as a priority. I'm going to try to make it a goal. I don't know. I guess I don't owe my time to anybody right now. So besides work, which has been a whole other thing that's also been very difficult, but I won't bore you talking about my day job here. I think I've probably yapped enough. I thought I was going to crash out more, but like I said, this kind of just turned into a cry out. It kind of turned into me just kind of yapping. And hopefully that's the kind of video you wanted to see today. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you can, you felt some of my feelings with me. Thanks for listening. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I don't think I have anything else to say. Like I said, once again, very big thank you to everybody who hung out with me this weekend. You're all wonderful people. I love you all very much. Thank you to all the AndyLa fans who've been here through these last, 8 months. You obviously didn't know what was going on. I just kind of said, I'll tell you about it sometime. Well, I guess this is sometime. Thank you guys for being here. Honestly, I'm grateful for every one of you. I'm very grateful for all of my friends who live here in Orlando. I'm grateful for all of my friends that live abroad. I love you guys. I'll catch you next time, okay? Say bye, Poliwhirl. A very special thank you to all of the certified AndyLa fans, especially the AndyLa VIPs, including Colton and Cosmic Pharaoh.
Once upon a time, man, I heard that I was struggling. Came from a gen where power creep wasn't coming in. Face long, stats tight, defense up, shack height. Sturdy on me, sash like, got the TM last night. Hit me with that good move, make this mount act right. Bast boys, better hit that builder. I know that's right, big Bast bust